Hello, welcome to the video. Today we are going to talk about one very important topic in sociology, that is suicide. This particular phenomena was studied by the famous sociologist Émile Durkheim. So this definition which is mentioned here was given by Émile Durkheim himself, and he says that suicide is any case of death caused by directly or indirectly positive or negative action of the victim himself, which he knows will produce this result. So, this is very important. Durkheim clearly said that when the person knows that his action might lead to his death, that is what is suicide. When the victim has this awareness in himself that yes, this action can lead to death, that is what is suicide. Okay. Durkheim always believed that suicide is not a personal or a psychological issue. He believed that suicide is shaped by how society is organized. He said that suicide is influenced by various factors in the society. It is not something very personal. It is not something psychological, as we all think that, oh, somebody might have committed suicide because they might be undergoing some psychological problem or some personal problem. But no, Durkheim said that the situation or the scenario of the society also leads to suicide. So through this flowchart, we are going to understand how. So the central idea, as we all know, is suicide. Now Durkheim said that the likelihood of suicide is influenced by two powerful forces. And what are those two powerful forces? Forces of integration and forces of regulation. So integration is how strongly people are connected to one another. How strongly you are connected to your family, your friends, and the community. And regulation is all about how strongly society controls you, or rather guides you through rules and norms. So how you are guided by the society through various norms, through various rules. So that will come under forces of regulation, and how close and how integrated you are in the society and the members of the society, that will show you of integration. Okay, so let's start. On the left side, as you can see, this is forces of integration. Integration creates what Durkheim called social solidarity. So solidarity means when we have a sense of belonging. Oh, we belong to this community. Oh, we belong to this religion. So all this is solidarity, belongingness. But he says that too little or too much integration can be harmful. Either you are too much involved in the community or you are very less involved in the community. Both can be fatal. And how? So he said that it can lead to egoistic suicide. This is egoistic suicide. When does this happen? When there are weak social ties, when your social solidarity is weak. When integration is too low, people feel isolated, they feel cut off. They don't feel they are part of any meaningful group, or they cannot, connect with any group. Maybe their family bonds are weak, or they believe that the community ties are also fading. So all this leads to egoistic suicide when the solidarity is weak. It is the kind of suicide that happens when someone feels alone, when someone feels unsupported. So that particular type of suicide is egoistic suicide. Okay. On the other hand, when integration is too strong, individuals may value the group so much that they are willing to give up their own life for it. Like they believe that the well-being of the community or the values of the community are way above their own values or their own well-being. So that is altruistic suicide. Like you have seen traditional warrior cultures where people were ready to sacrifice their lives. So what was that? That was all altruistic suicide, which happens due to excessive integration in the society. So as it is said, if excess of anything is bad, then if something is not in moderation and it is below the moderation point, it can also be fatal. So this is the perfect example where we can see that everything should be in moderation. Neither you should be too much integrated in the community, neither you should be too far away from your community. Okay, because both of these extremes can lead to fatal situations like these suicide: egoistic suicide and altruistic suicide. If you are too much integrated, it might lead to altruistic suicide. If you are not you're barely integrated into your society, you barely connect with your society, it can lead to egoistic suicide. Okay, so this portion of the flowchart is done. Now we move over to the right side, and these are forces of regulation. This is how clearly society sets limits and expectations. And how does it set limits and expectations? Through various norms, through various value systems in place. Okay, so that is how social control is maintained. Now the first thing is fatalistic suicide. When your regulation is too strong and people, they start feeling controlled and suffocating. Obviously, when somebody starts to control your life, you feel suffocated. You feel that you are not able to do anything according to your own wish. So what is that? That makes you feel suffocated. You feel trapped. You feel, oh, there's no hope, there can be no change. So Durkheim said that this is fatalistic suicide, which occurs due to over-regulation. It can happen when there are oppressive laws, when you are living under, extremely harsh laws, where you don't have any say in the society. So all that can lead to fatalistic suicide, when you are overly controlled by somebody else or higher authorities. Now the second type of suicide, and this is anomic suicide. Anomic means normlessness. Now the exact opposite of this happens here. Okay, there is sudden collapse. For example, like sudden economic crash or sudden economic bloom. Old rules don't seem to apply anymore. People feel like they are very uncertain about what is going to happen next. So Durkheim called that this situation of normlessness can lead to anomic suicide. Okay, so basically forces of integration and forces of regulation, these are two important forces that lead to suicide, and we have seen how excess or if they are in less quantity, both can be very fatal. So we learn from this that everything should be in moderation. Okay, so Durkheim's insight is that suicide rates, they rise or fall depending on how society manages integration and regulation. As I already told you in the beginning, Durkheim always believed that suicide is not just a psychological or a personal problem. It is shaped by the society. So he said that how is the integration and what is the level of regulation will decide the suicide that take place. It's not just about individual mental health, it is also a mirror of how healthy or unstable the social structure is. If your social structure is unstable due to any of the following reasons, it can lead to suicide. Now, we'll try to relate this theory with a very common example, and we all have experienced it during the COVID pandemic. So many people were living alone, obviously, and we all lost contacts with our friends and co-workers, and we could hardly go out and meet anybody. So this kind of low integration can lead to egoistic suicide. At the same time, countless small business owners faced sudden job losses. There were a lot of people who lost their jobs during pandemic. So it will lead to anomic suicide because there was total normlessness. People did not know what is going to happen next. Will they ever get job again? Will they ever get back to their normal lives again? So this was anomic suicide. And in some places, people described that they started feeling suffocated because there were so many laws. You could not go out without your mask, or you could not go to certain places. More than certain amount of people could not gather at a place. So all this was very suffocating for some people. They found it that over-regulating. So what was that? That was fatalist. That could lead to fatalistic suicide. Okay, but thankfully, not everyone experienced these outcomes. But this shows that Durkheim's ideas still help us to understand how big social changes affect even our most personal experience like suicide. Okay, so when you look at this flowchart, remember that each type of suicide, which is egoistic, altruistic, fatalistic and anomic, is a result of society losing balance in integration or regulation. Durkheim's theory reminds us that understanding society isn't just about studying institution. It's about understanding how deeply our social environments shape the lives of individuals. Okay, So that is why this study is still very relevant. We saw it through this example of COVID, and imagine this theory was given so many years ago, and still it holds true. So that means there is some strength in this theory. Okay, so with that, our topic for today is done. I hope you have gained something out of this, and if yes, then please do like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.